Hey guys, just wanted to pop in here really quickly before the main video starts to say hello, I'm still alive, and also to apologize for the lack of content and uploads over the last month. So I'm back, and I'm really sorry it's taken so long for me to drop another video as of late. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the last month and a half has been an absolute whirlwind of life and work getting in the way, so unfortunately, YouTube had to take a bit of a backseat for the time being. However, I'm happy to finally be back to bring you guys this video on my sports filmmaking camera rig, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I actually shot this at the end of May, so I'm close to almost a month since I shot this. And I'm not gonna lie, I only really started editing recently because I haven't had much free time to do so otherwise. And just to prove it to you guys, I'm actually just about finishing editing the main cut of the video, and I'm about to edit the B-roll portion of this video. So it has been a very busy month and a half with a lot of different things coming my way. I'm excited to update you guys, and I'm excited to bring you guys this video finally. But knowing me, I wanted to bring you guys the best possible final product, so I'm excited to share it with you guys. And funny enough, I actually got a package in the mail today with some more accessories for my cage, so I don't think this video is going to lose any relevance. However, there are a few pieces here that are going to change, but not really drastically alter my camera rig setup. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm actually going to show you guys what I got right now, so you have an idea of what is going to change in my rig from when I actually shot this video up to now. A couple smaller boxes and the main package. So we're going to start with the biggest package here. I think this is the top handle that I ordered. I'm going to need some scissors. This is the new top handle I ordered, not to go into too much detail about it, but it is a little bit obviously visually different from my old one, considering there's no wooden piece on the bottom just to give me a bit of the better grip. It does get a little slippery when it's cold or wet outside, obviously being all metal. This one apparently does allow you to rotate the entire thing if you need to, and there's a hidden Allen key in it. So that's one of the main purchases, just to switch it up. Now to the smaller packages, which are related to the main top handle. You can tell I've never done an unboxing video before. So this is going to be, I believe, my monitor mount. Yes, with an Allen key to boot. The reason I got this monitor mount is because up until recently, using my small HD monitor, it comes with this bracket which uses a cold shoe adapter. Now, it's great up until the point where I got a larger NPF battery for it because I misplaced one and I just wanted something with more battery life. And I started to notice that whenever I wanted to rotate the actual or tilt to the actual screen, this would hit the bottom of it. And I didn't generally really like the placement of my monitor on my old top handle, which would literally just be right on top of here. So I decided to get the monitor mount instead to now attach to the front with this the RE locator pin system, just to attach right here to the front and have my monitor kind of off in front of my top handle itself and not directly on top of it. So we'll just kind of break down this mount. Now I will just screw the mount onto the monitor and onto the side handle. And then finally, this I believe is the NATO rail system for it to sit on top of my cage itself. It is. So this NATO rail system actually works in conjunction with the handle itself, and it'll just be able to slide right on and off, versus on my old cage, since I cannibalized this, it actually just has two screws here that are directly into the cage itself. So if I wanted to remove it, I would need a multi-tool of some kind. I do carry one, but if I ever just want to slip it off, a NATO rail system is just infinitely easier to mount and dismount from. So now what we can do is unscrew the current bolts that hold the old handle. And of course, small rig, everything fits like a glove. Screw in the NATO rail. I also just want to say small rig is in no way endorsing me or paying me to make this video. This is all coming out of my pocket. However, I do love their products. I was going to say, if you guys ever need a multi-tool, this small rig little multi-tool is fantastic, and it saved my life on various occasions whenever I need some kind of screwdriver or flathead or an Allen key. It's a fantastic little thing, 25 bucks. It'll save you a lot of headaches, especially when you're out and about. NATO rail system with RE locating pins, and in theory, this should just slide right on. Done. And then you screw on the bottom, and there we go. And now I need to tighten this because obviously it's flip-flopping. This kind of does it for my camera rig impromptu unboxing. So we're replacing the old top handle with a new one, combined with a NATO rail system for easy quick release, and then the monitor mount for my small HD monitor, which will allow me just a little bit more flexibility on my viewing angles. And like I said, that kind of does it for this impromptu unboxing, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video, and I think it'll stay a little relevant, and if there's things I need to change, I might just add a voiceover here and there. But for now, enjoy the rest of the video, guys, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Juan here again today with a brand new video, and as always, very excited to sit down with you guys to talk about more sports creative content. In this video, I want to sit down and show you guys my rig for sports filmmaking. This is something a lot of you guys have been asking for, so here it is. This rig is something I've put a lot of time and effort into, just trying different accessories and different combinations in order just to create the most efficient and effective rig for capturing sports content. Before we continue on though, I just want to address something and say thank you to you guys for allowing me to hit another YouTube milestone. At least for me, we just hit 500 subs last week, and hey, Editor Juan here. Quick note, because the numbers I set in here are completely dated. I'm actually closer to the 728 mark of subscribers versus the 500 I said in this video. That means two things. Number one, this video is obviously dated. I shot this in May and it's July 1st when I'm recording this one. So I apologize for the numbers being dated and for taking so long to make this video. And number two, it just means I'm so much more thankful and so much more appreciative of the support over the last month and a half, almost 2 months since posting a video. And even without posting a video, I've seen my subscriber count climb, and so many more of you are here. So everything I'm about to say in this video, even though it was shot about a month or two ago, still very applicable. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you guys for continuing to subscribe and like the videos and watch them, and for coming even though I haven't been posting. So thank you guys so much. We're gonna go back to the video. Hope you guys are enjoying it. So if you're new here, thank you. I really appreciate you guys, taking the time to watch my videos and join me on this journey. And if you're new here, consider subscribing, because I've got a lot of new stuff coming on the way and I cannot wait to keep going. I've said this before, but this would not be possible with all of your help and appreciation and support. So thank you so much. If you guys have been here from the beginning, I appreciate you guys. And if you're new here, welcome. Really excited to keep going with this and see where it takes us. Back to the main topic, and the first question I kind of want to answer is why create a camera rig in the first place? The biggest reason for myself wasn't to, build off the shortcomings that happen when you shoot with a mirrorless camera versus a cinema body, but more just to maximize the potential and capability of a great camera like the A7S III, and also to just maximize my options and customization when I'm out shooting. For the first few years of shooting sports, I never used a camera rig, whether it was my A6300 or the A7S III. Up until very recently, I never really shot using a cage or a rig. I just kind of purely shot handheld using the camera itself and maybe a microphone, and that was about it. But over the last year, I built a rig because I understood that, and I've discovered just over time that there are limitations to shooting with a mirrorless body. Not that that's a bad thing. I think there's, pros and cons of shooting with a mirrorless body and pros and cons of shooting with something like a cinema body. But at the same time, when you're able to customize your camera and everything around it to your needs, it just makes your job so much easier as a videographer, and I've loved the results I've gotten so far using this setup. It's not only really changed the way I shoot sports, but it just allows me to be more creative, especially in certain situations. By the way, every piece of gear and equipment that I talk about in this video, I will leave in the description down below in case you guys want to check them out. Enough as to why I made it though, let's dive right into it and show you guys what I ended up doing for my sports filmmaking camera rig. First off, the main driver of the camera rig is of course my camera, and in my case it is the Sony A7S III. I've said this before and I've talked so highly of this camera, but I am convinced if you are a sports filmmaker, sports content creator in 2021, the A7S III is the best camera for you on the market right now, hands down. There are so many reasons, and I could go on and repeat what other people have said as to why this is such a great camera. And I know I've said I'm gonna make a review on it for sports videography specifically, and I will, but just trust me on this. This camera is fantastic for and without sports, but just For sports itself, I don't know if there's a better competitor than this camera. The biggest reason that I built it around the A7S III and not any other body is because I think the quality coming out of the A7S III is top notch, and as well the size. It's not very big, it's not very heavy, so it's just the perfect combination of quality and size. It's hard to say it any other way, but I'd be willing to die on a hill saying that the A7S III has the best image output out of any mirrorless body on the market right now, you know, with the only main competitor probably being the Canon R5. And I think the biggest reason I would choose something like the A7S III versus a cinema body, and I know people will go back and forth onto why someone might want to shoot with something like an FX6 or something along those lines. I think the biggest thing for sports filmmakers is size and weight. You don't want to be weighed down by a heavy camera or rig. You want to be able to be mobile and, you know, be on your feet and get one place to another and be able to get your shots when you need them right away. Combining that mobility with the quality you get with the A7S III, you can shoot the lights out in 4K, pretty much anything, 24, 30, 60, 120. The quality of this camera is outstanding, and I keep getting blown away. Even though I've had it for almost about a year now, or just over 6 months or so, I think, you know, it surprises me every single time I shoot something and I go back and put it on my computer, and I'm blown away by just the high quality image that it produces. Not just the 4K, it has fantastic autofocus, it has amazing dynamic range. There are so many features that make this the ideal body to center a sports filmmaking rig around. There are so many features about this camera that I've fallen in love with, and like I said, I will be making a review on this. I will do that. I know I've said it before. I just want to use it in an environment like a game that I haven't been able to do yet, but so far, for everything else I've shot with it sports related, it's done the job. So that's why my rig is centered around the Sony A7S III. The main thing the rig is built around, apart from the camera, is the cage that it sits in, and that is the small rig cage for the Sony A7S III. And even if you don't want to build a complex rig for your camera and you don't want to have a monitor or handles or whatever, I would always highly recommend just buying a cage for your camera. One, because it just provides a little bit more protection. If it falls, it'll hit the cage first, and it's made of pretty good quality metal. And at the same time, you will always have the option down the road, if you change your mind, you can just buy a few attachments on it. There are screw holes all over the entire cage that allow you to mix and match and put different attachments on the camera. So you have the choice down the road, which I think is the best thing. I think the amount of threads and customization options you have is the biggest reason why I use the small rig cage, and you can just modify it to your heart's delight, which is the biggest reason why I got it in the first place. The first two attachments I want to talk about are my top and side handles. And guys, if you want to build out a cage, if you want to build out a rig for your camera, I would highly recommend getting a top or a side handle or both, because not only will it give you different grip options, it will also really improve your handheld footage game. Honestly, if I was to tell you to get one, I would probably say a top handle, because it really changes the way you can shoot handheld off the bat. Top handles are fantastic because of the way they kind of use gravity to pull your camera down while you're holding it, minimizing those little micro jitters and shakes and giving you way more stable footage. Now, before you go into the comments and tell me, oh, this didn't do anything, there's still camera shake. Yeah, because it's not a gimbal or a steady cam. It's still gonna have some camera shake, but it's not the micro jitters that everyone hates. Instead, it's more of a swaying or slightly more pronounced shaky look, but at the same time, a lot better handheld footage that I find versus just holding the camera itself. My side handle purchase is something I've fallen in love with, and I've really started using a lot more recently, and it's kind of become my go-to. I wasn't always sure if I wanted a side handle, but when I got one, I can't go back at all. It kind of acts as an extension to the actual camera itself. It fits really nicely in the hand, and typically the further away you're holding your camera from the actual body, the more stable your footage will be at most of the time. It's definitely given me a solid second grip option, especially if I don't want to use my top handle or if it's a bit of an awkward situation, the grip doesn't really work. And at the same time, it kind of acts as an extension as if you were holding your camera, and it's extremely comfortable. The top and the side handle are things I would always recommend to people, and like if you're building out a rig, get yourself a top handle or get yourself a side handle or both, because it's just going to drastically improve your handheld footage. Because let's be honest, if you're throwing this on a camera rig, you probably aren't putting on a gimbal, and you know, honestly, handheld footage is kind of making a comeback. It's kind of becoming a little bit more mainstream, and these handles will help you a ton. Next is the most underrated, but probably the most important part of any filmmaking rig, and that is your audio. This was something in the past that I definitely needed an upgrade with. I was just using the Rode VideoMic Go, and it was okay, but it didn't really get the audio I wanted, which is why I ended up upgrading to the Rode VideoMic NTG. The Rode VideoMic NTG is basically if Rode's NTG shotgun series and their VideoMic series had a baby. It has the size and the portability to be a great on-camera mic, but you can also use it for some really high quality, crisp audio recording. If I'm shooting a game, it definitely sits on my camera rig, capturing all the audio I need, but say I'm shooting an interview or a YouTube video like this, I actually have it on a boom pole right up here. You can't see it, but it works fantastic as a shotgun microphone as well. Apart from the portability and the great audio quality of this microphone, my favorite part about it is all the little extra features and options that come with it. You have options like a low pass filter, a -20 dB pad, frequency boosts, and even a safety channel. So all these little features mix into a microphone that can work really well in a studio or interview setting, and on your camera is just unbelievable, and I could not have picked a better microphone for my uses as a sports videographer. Next up is the monitor on my camera rig, which is the small HD Focus OLED HDMI on-camera monitor. I think that's the name. It sounded like a bit of a mouthful, but I will leave that in the description below. This is probably one of the most important parts of my rig because instead of looking at the little LCD screen on my camera, I now have a 5-inch monitor right on top, giving me a better viewing angle. I can set my exposure a lot better, and there's a lot of little features in this monitor that make it a worthwhile investment. This monitor has a lot of features that you won't really be able to use on your camera's little LCD screen, such as something like false color, which will help me set exposure, or even things like monitoring LUTs, where you can upload a LUT to your monitor so you have a better idea of what your finished image could look like. It has a touchscreen display, which makes it extremely easy to use, and I have it right on top of my top handle, just giving me the best accessibility and viewpoint at all times. Next up, lenses, and I know they're not technically part of the rig or the cage, but these are the two most important things apart from my camera in my bag that I use on a daily basis whenever I'm shooting sports. First piece of glass I'll talk about is my medium range lens, which is my Tamron 28-75 f2.8, and it's probably the lens I use the most for court sports like volleyball or basketball. Several reasons why I love this lens. The 28-75 focal length is super flexible and versatile. It has great low light with a 2.8 aperture. It's lightweight enough that you can throw it on a gimbal, and it's only around $1,100 Canadian brand new, and you'd be paying a lot more than that for something like the Sigma or even the Sony G Master 24-70. And second, and probably my most used lens in sports up to this point, is the 70-200 Sony f4. This is a lens I use across the board pretty much in every sport I shoot, but it really comes in handy when the playing field is a lot larger. Say you're shooting hockey, football, or soccer. It is fantastic for those kinds of sports. This lens is just super crispy, man. It produces a super sharp and clean image. I have no complaints about it so far, and even at f4 you have really solid depth of field bokeh. The compression on it is just ridiculous. You're always going to be able to throw the background out of focus, and realistically the 2.8 would be great, but I don't really need the extra stops because I shoot on the A7S III anyways, which is built for low light, so I don't really need anything past the f4 version for now. I do eventually plan on investing and buying into the f2.8 G Master version of the 70-200, but if you know how much it is, it does cost a pretty penny, and so you will save a couple bucks here and there, more than a couple bucks on the f4 version, so I would highly recommend it to anybody. It is a must-have focal length for shooting sports, no matter what. Both of these lenses are pretty much essential non-negotiables if you want to shoot sports videography. I don't ever leave home without them, and I use them both every single time I'm out shooting, so if you want to get into sports videography, I highly recommend you check these out and you consider buying them because trust me, they're well worth the investment. Finally, the last and the newest part of my camera rig is my little behind the scenes setup I have here involving the Insta360 1R action camera. For this, all it is my Insta360 1R connected to a friction arm, which is connected to the other side of my cage. The Insta360 was a recent purchase I made for myself just to capture my own behind the scenes content to give you guys that different perspective of seeing me and how I shoot sports. I recently put out a basketball POV videography video that showcases exactly how I want to use it, and I think you guys should really check it out, especially if you want to see how I shoot sports and move around the court and just kind of my perspective when I'm shooting a sporting event or a practice. So far, I've loved the capabilities of this little camera, especially with how modular it is. It comes with two different camera modifications, one for 360-degree video and the other for a wide-angle action camera look, and both have been extremely handy so far in capturing behind-the-scenes content. And I think also in the realm of sports content, I think the time will come where I will actually use it not just as a behind-the-scenes camera, but as a main action camera for a unique perspective. So it's just great to have in my little camera bag, and it's also great if you want to vlog or just capture day-to-day things with maybe a camera that isn't as big as a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. And to wrap this up, this is really just the beginning of my sports filmmaking camera rig. I don't think I'm anywhere near done in customizing this thing. I think a lot of the things that you see here might come and go, but so far I'm really thrilled with the results I've been getting and just the other options and, versatility that this rig gives me when I'm out shooting sports. Keep in mind, all these pieces and tools and accessories on my rig are just things I need and that I've just kind of adapted, but everyone's rig's gonna be different. So if you choose to build your own camera rig, feel free to experiment and make something that's gonna suit your needs first. If you guys have any questions about the gear you saw in this video, feel free to drop any in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And as well, like I said, if you wanna check any of them out, they are in the description below. If you guys made it this far in the video, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys took something away from it. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. And if you guys haven't yet, please consider subscribing. Like I said, we hit another milestone, and the next one in my eyes is 1,000 subs. So trust me, every subscribe, every click of that red button matters, and I really appreciate it because it helps me and the channel grow tremendously. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.